one thing that's helpful as you're getting started, if you have your hand flat, this is the hardest position to draw because your hand is flat. It's actually, look at the difference when you bend your hand. Move your hand in different positions and think about what you think looks good. Once you get your object, move your object around too. It could be in any position you want, right? I'm going to choose a position that has a combination of different finger positions. So I want to have at least one finger extended, and then I'll have some bent. If your fingers are covered in the back, you're not going to draw those because the fingers in front are overlapping them. So think about the overall shape. Look at my hand right now, right? I can't see the fingers down below. All I can see is the hand on top. So I want to think about, look at that shape. I want to outline that shape all the way to the top of my pencil, back down and around, right? I don't see the fingers down below. I see the finger in front. The other thing that you want to pay attention to, do you see where my fingers bend? Like these creases? Those are lines that you're going to put on your paper. So one thing that I thought was helpful is I took a marker and I drew those creases. Those are the same lines that you're going to do. When you're making a line that's curvy, take your pencil and just mimic that. So see how this curves down? You're going to do the same thing on your paper. Okay, so I'm just going to show you real quickly. I'm going to do a demo, even though I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to help you. Okay? So like what I mentioned before, I like taking another piece of paper because this helps me with proportion. So I know I have my hand here. I'm going to have one extended, one bent. I had to get that bar down. There we go. Okay? So I like to measure. So you can either just take your pencil like this and go straight across, and I put a little mark. I can even mark where the top of my thumb is going to be. Look. Top of my finger, top of my thumb, my wrist, right here. I'm putting marks so I know already, look, the distance lines up with my hand. So now I know that I'm going to make my hand big enough. And I can also do it the opposite way. I can measure going across. So now I know the general area of my hand is right here on my paper. It lines up evenly, right? The other thing, notice my wrist going down, right? And it's going, you can take your pencil, look, and mimic this. So now I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to measure the distance of my wrist on the distance of my paper. You can do it with your fingers like that, or you can take your pencil and you can measure. So now I know that my wrist. So look, now I have my wrist. It's hard to see. I'm going to draw it darker because I can erase. You can use your eraser right now. So now I know, look, it's the size of my hand and my wrist. Lines up perfectly, right? So when I get started, I'm basically drawing an outline. See where my pencil's going? I'm going to draw an outline. And then when it starts to move in this direction, I'm going to move this direction on my paper, going up. And then where my knuckle is, it starts to turn to the right. So I'm going to turn to the right, and then it's not straight. See how it dips down? So I would make my line dip down, and then it's going to start going back up to the knuckle. So I'm going to do the same thing on my paper. And I'm going to try and move slowly because I want to be, like I said, I can erase. I got to stand up because my position changes. It looks different on your screen. And I can even measure the distance here. What? If that helps you, yeah. No, you can do that. If that helps you, do it. Excellent. You're even doing extra. You're doing cross contour. That's advanced. Cross contour is when we look at the surface and it's like a map of the surface. Let me bring this down. And the pen is underneath my thumb. So I can see right here where my finger starts to bend. Your finger has 1, 2, 3 sections. So it's like a cylinder. And then I have the pen going straight. Let's just stick with pencil for now. We're going to move to color for the first assignment. But right now I'm not even supposed to be showing you how to do it, but I don't mind. It's nice to practice. I'm gonna teach you how to shade. We're gonna go into shading and everything. No worries. Like I said, just be patient with yourself. Even I feel rusty. And I'm drawing all the creases in my fingers. Even the lines going across my wrist. That goes in more. And my thumbs are a little bit thicker than, my thumbs are a little bit different. So if I talked about, some people might not have all their fingers if you had an accident, but nobody in my family has thumbs like this, but me. My thumbs look like big toes. Sometimes I see people that have thumbs like mine. Yes, but bigger. And we want your wrist. It's okay. We can tape it to the back. We can get extra paper and put it underneath and just tape it and make it longer. I got paper right here if you want to. There's actually it happened my first hour. Look. Oh, he took it with him. He took it with him to work on. But just put the paper there and add to it. So I'm even drawing the lines on my knuckles. The hardest part, I'm telling you, is you guys got to stop being negative and talking bad to yourself. I know all of you can do it. Just trust yourself. Look at where things line up too. So my middle finger lines up with that crease by my thumb right there. So I just drew a little line. It's so easy to be negative to ourselves, and it's really hard to be positive. That's something that I always struggled with growing up. And I know you guys do too, because it's common. It's not unusual. Everybody goes through it. It's really hard to compliment yourself or somebody else, but try and get in the practice of it. Every time I say something negative, try and think of something positive to say back to yourself. And there's got to be something positive that you can find. Yeah, but make sure your fingers on the top, like your thumb is the right size, but your fingers are looking too small. So when you're, look up at the screen. When you're doing it, look at like where things line up. Like you see how the middle finger lines up with this, and the top of that the top of the finger lines up with that crease. So just make sure that, like, use your pencil to make things line up. Or like going the opposite way. See how my pointer finger, it lines up with that thumb, with the back of it, yeah. So all you gotta do is make a quick adjustment because it looks right. It's just too small. And honestly, drawing is all about practice. The more you practice, the better you will be. And that's with anything in life. Like, you know, how many people here are on sports teams? Don't you practice before you get on the field? You don't just go out in the field and start playing, do you? This is the same for art. You have to practice before you get better. These are things that a lot of artists, like what we're doing today, this is what artists do to warm up before they even work on their own work. Like when I was in college and I was in New York, we had sketchbooks and we had to sketch every day. We had to do between 5 and 10 sketches every day. And I would if I was not riding my bike into school, I'd ride the subway and I would sketch people across from me. I'd sketch people in class. I still loved, like even when we were over the quarantine, I would sketch people I was on Zoom calls with. And when we have meetings and staff, when we did meet in person, I would sketch the teachers sitting around me. So once you get an outline, now you can start shading. So I'm going to shade in my Sharpie lid. And we talk about value from light to dark. So black being the darkest you can push in your pen. And we can also shade, we're going to shade in our fingers. So wherever you see shadows, I would work on this part of your hand. Hold your hand up again. See how far your pointer finger goes? It's the same distance as your thumb. You have it going behind your thumb. And I'm going to teach you guys how to shade, how to hold your pencil, because some of you might be holding your pencil wrong. But just try your best. Remember, I know some of you have never drawn before. This is your first time. And it's frustrating to hear somebody say, well, just draw what you see. But also, all you gotta do is relax. For me, when I'm drawing, I don't think about anything else. Everything kind of disappears, which is why I always enjoy doing art. I don't care about phone calls. I don't care about what's happening in the world. And it's a really good escape. And it's really relaxing to me, but that's just me. I know everybody has something different. Exercising, going on walks, or other ways that I love tuning out. But you have to remember, too, I'm 44, so I have a lot more years under my belt, a lot more practice. So don't compare yourself to me or what I'm doing. It's not fair. We all start in the same level. Remember that. But that's the trick. It's kind of like when people, if anybody's ever done yoga, and they talk about, if you ever do yoga, when you're exercising, and sometimes they ask you to get in difficult poses, and it doesn't work, because they'll tell you you have to clear your mind. Or like that Parliament song, clear your mind and the rest will follow. But I promise you, you'll get better the more that you practice. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. You're not going to get graded on your level and your ability. I'm grading you on your effort. I can see that you're trying, that you're working and not giving up. Like I said, you can use an eraser if you need to. If your hand is hurting, I'm going to teach you how to hold your pencil better so your hand doesn't get fatigued. It's a common mistake because a lot of people hold their hand like they're right, and you grip the pencil. If you have trouble with shading, I can also show you how many people have driven a car. So you know how you have to be careful by putting your foot on the gas. So the same thing works for a pencil. So if you look up here, when I put my hand closer to the tip of the pencil, that's going to give me natural, more control, and I can get darker value, like darker areas, without pushing down as hard. You obviously still can push down to get that dark value. If I move my hand to the middle of the pencil, that's going to give me less control, so I can get those middle tone shades smoothly. And then if I move my hand further down to the pencil and hold it like this, then I can get those really light shades. Look, very, very light. Okay? In drawing one, we use all kinds of other materials like tortillons, which are blending sticks. But we can do some of that in here too if that helps. And we'll be practicing drawing with basic shapes and how to work on achieving value. Oh, sorry. Thank you for telling me. Yes. Bathroom pass is right up there in the white basket, and you just need to sign out. One in, one out. Huh? Oh. It's 11:54. Is it 11? I forget how to say it. I need to practice. We're gonna practice. Just try. I'll put music back on. No. This is not going to be put up anywhere. This is just our first assessment. We're just try your best. Just don't think about it. Hold on, I'm coming over. Let me stop recording.